The ancient Sumerians named Mars Nergal, the god of war and plague. During Sumerian times, Nergal was a minor deity of little significance. But, during later times, his main cult center was the city of Nineveh. In Mesopotamian texts, Mars is referred to as the star of judgment of the fate of the dead. The existence of Mars as a wandering object in the night sky was also recorded by the ancient Egyptian astronomers, and by 1534 BCE, they were familiar with the retrograde motion of the planet. By the period of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, the Babylonian astronomers were making regular records of the positions of the planets and systematic observations of their behavior. For Mars, they knew that the planet made 37 synodic periods, or 42 circuits of the zodiac, every 79 years. They invented arithmetic methods for making minor corrections to the predicted positions of the planets. In ancient Greece, the planet was known as Pyroeus. Commonly, the Greek name for the planet now referred to as Mars was Ares. It was the Romans who named the planet Mars for their god of war, often represented by the sword and shield of the planet's namesake. In the 4th century BCE, Aristotle noted that Mars disappeared behind the Moon during an occultation, indicating that the planet was farther away. Ptolemy, a Greek living in Alexandria, attempted to address the problem of the orbital motion of Mars. Ptolemy's model and his collective work on astronomy was presented in the multi-volume collection, later called the Almagest, from the Arabic for greatest, which became the authoritative treatise on Western astronomy for the next 14 centuries. Literature from ancient China confirms that Mars was known by Chinese astronomers by no later than the 4th century BCE. In the East Asian cultures, Mars is traditionally referred to as the fire star, based on the Wuxing system. During the 17th century A.D., Tycho Brahe measured the diurnal parallax of Mars that Johannes Kepler used to make a preliminary calculation of the relative distance to the planet. From Brahe's observations of Mars, Kepler deduced that the planet orbited the Sun not in a circle, but in an ellipse. Moreover, Kepler showed that Mars sped up as it approached the Sun and slowed down as it moved farther away, in a manner that later physicists would explain as a consequence of the conservation of angular momentum. U-200A 433-437, U-200A. When the telescope became available, the diurnal parallax of Mars was again measured in an effort to determine the Sun-Earth distance. This was first performed by Giovanni Domenico Cassini in 1672. The early parallax measurements were hampered by the quality of the instruments. The only occultation of Mars by Venus observed was that of 13 October 1590, seen by Michael Maestlin at Heidelberg. In 1610, Mars was viewed by Italian astronomer Galileo Galilei, who was first to see it via telescope. The first person to draw a map of Mars that displayed any terrain features was the Dutch astronomer Christiaan Huygens.